What's up, weirdos? It's time for another garden tour. Today is July 12th, 2020, so we're into mid-July now, and the garden is just looking great. I am going to start over here in the food forest, something different. And we had a nice little rain the last couple of days. I think we got about a half an inch of rain, so I didn't have to water the last few days, which was nice. And the gooseberries, they're looking a little bit better. I think they like the drought, honestly. They seem to get a lot more greener, like a darker green whenever it's drier, and then whenever we get rain, they definitely get a little bit lighter. So I think they're doing better with the drier weather. I think it may have something to do with the wood chips. I think the wood chips are keeping a lot of moisture in, which is good. That's what we want. But it may be keeping too much moisture in. But yeah, because on a normal year we get a lot more rain. I think that could be detrimental for these guys. So yeah, something to keep in mind. I may not cover them with wood chips in the future. But so far they're doing good. There's only one little gooseberry on it. You can see it's right there, I think. Yeah, it's pretty tiny, and again, there's just one on there. This is a black gooseberry, so yeah, we're not really going to get anything this year, but I'm hoping that they'll continue to branch out. The currants, they're not producing anything yet. It's just a lot of leaves and a lot of canes, but nothing on them. No flowers, no fruit. So I'm assuming it's going to take a couple years for them. Autumn olive over here is it's producing a lot. I mean, a lot of leaves and stuff. I'm not seeing any flowers or anything, so I don't know what it takes for these guys to fruit. And then the apple right here, this one doesn't have any yet this year. I think this is the second year or something. Yeah, second year. Same with this one. This is a pink lady. That one's an Empire. Honeycrisp over here. It's got 3 apples on it. And these trees have been, the Japanese beetle's been all over them. It is Japanese beetle season now, and they're picking apart my beans, and they are picking apart the apples. More currants over here, and then of course the mulberry has that one little branch that's alive, which is good to see. I am going to plant some more mulberries this fall. And then elderberries, they are producing. There's a bunch of little berries on them. They got to ripen. So a couple months we'll have some elderberries. Looking forward to that. And we'll go over to the overflow garden. And the first thing you see are those sunflowers. They are getting huge. I think they get to like 6 feet or so. And then the tomatoes over here, you can see they are finally starting to really take off. They're starting to get tomatoes on them. These are all beefsteak types. I think they're Kellogg's Breakfast, big orange tomato. You can see they're all doing pretty well. Zucchinis are just taking off completely. We've been picking zucchinis every day pretty much. I think from all of our plants, we've picked probably close to 40 zucchinis already. And we've only been picking them for about a week and a half, so it's definitely taken off. I picked 13 yesterday, 14 a couple days before that. And again, tomatoes looking really good. But yeah, the zucchinis have been producing like crazy. And I see a few more in here that I have to pick today. Oh my gosh. My mom's been making zucchini bread, so we are using it up. But there's definitely a lot. And take a look at this. This is a sunflower. I think my mom must have weeded it when she was weeding the sunflower rows. She probably pulled it out and just threw it in the compost, and it's growing here. So they're pretty resilient, I guess. Tomatoes came up from last year. As you can see, there's some tomatoes in here. Yeah, a couple tomatoes, and they're flowering. And you can see there's some tomatoes on them. So we'll see what we get there. Some potatoes as well that came up from I must have just tossed some potatoes into the compost, and they're starting to come up. And then a row of beans right here, looking pretty good. They're definitely taking their time for sure. They got mowed down by, I'm thinking, a groundhog, but they are coming back, and so are the watermelons. You remember, they were really chewed up. They are looking much better now, and I'm probably gonna have to spray them again just to keep the groundhogs away. But they are starting to produce now, and there's a few watermelons here. There's one right there. starting to grow. And then we got 3 on this one over here. One little one right there, one there, and then the big one right there. And that one is, it's getting there. It's getting there. I think they get probably about double that size. I think this is a red watermelon. Well, red flesh, red seed. I'm not sure what the name is. I'll have to check with my friend. We got some banana peppers right there, and then some squash that's growing here. Zeppelin squash and spaghetti squash. And of course, our sunflowers, and they're looking great. This one's the biggest one. And then we have another row of beans right here. These are all bush beans. And then lots of peppers, basically a full row of peppers. Are mostly bell peppers. And then lots of tomatoes. And you can see the Matt's Wild Cherry tomatoes, they look differently. They look a lot different because they like to sprawl on the ground, as you can see. I don't know if you can see the difference. There's a tomato. I think these are black cherries right here. And then you come over here and you see Matt's Wild Cherry. You can see they just kind of sprawl on the ground. And they naturally do that. And so I'm just kind of letting them do that. And you can see they are starting to produce. You can see some tomatoes on them. So looking forward to that. Now I did tie up my cherry tomatoes in this garden. And yeah, they're looking good. The onions, I need to pick them. These ones right here, the ones that are seeding. Yeah, I need to cut those tops off and then put them in a paper bag. And then let those seeds dry up because those are ready to go. Again, potatoes that are going to be ready to pick here probably another month or so. Marigolds, they're starting to bush out, so they look really nice. You can see the borage that came up from last year. It's all over the place. So it's going to be back every year pretty much. Lettuce, I did plant some more lettuce. As you can see, it's starting to come up. As well as this lettuce, which is really taking off. And then, of course, this bed is still taking off too. This has pretty much become the main bed because this bed over here is starting to bolt for the most part. Yeah, most of these are bolting. So we're going to rip most of this out and probably replant. Once I'm done planting in that bed over there at the very end, I'll probably start planting in here for the fall. And again, kale looking good. And into the big garden, the main garden, and the tomatoes, as you can see, first thing, are looking great. These are all Brandywines and persimmon tomatoes. There's some Cherokee purples back there. They're looking really good. This one is one of the biggest ones right there. So we are going to have a lot of tomatoes, and as you can see, there are some onions in there that we got to start picking. Over here we have our carrots and beets, and we've been picking the beets slowly but surely. And from what my stepdad says, they are very good. So that is a good sign. And then over here is our echinacea. And it's looking really good. It's starting to flower, and I'm really excited about that because it didn't flower last year. It was its first year. And so now we're actually going to have flowers, and it looks beautiful. And again, potatoes and zucchinis. Here's more zucchinis. And I've been picking these just as much as the other ones. And yeah. I think they're starting to maybe slow down in production, which is actually good for us because we can't keep up with it. Beans are really starting to produce now, and the Japanese beetles are definitely on them. So I've been picking them off and tossing them in some soapy water. That's the best way to get rid of them. You can squish them, but they will attract more Japanese beetles, and you don't want to do that. So you can see a lot of beans on here. Yesterday was really the first day that I picked more than I could eat. And again, here's the purple bean right there. You can kind of see it. The purple beans on here. It was a mistake. It was supposed to be Vortex, the green bean, but it turned out to be purple. But it's good. It tastes really good. I like it. It tastes basically the exact same anyway. Peppers. These are banana peppers, and they're looking really good. They are starting to produce. It's going to be a little bit before we can pick them, but they're definitely looking good. And we have cucumbers in here. I got to weed this. This is all purslane. And then the main cucumber bed is just is exploding. There's cucumbers everywhere in here. I've been picking a few. I've picked 2 so far. There's a few more in here that I have to pick. Let's see if we can see. There's one in there. There's another one in there too that's getting pretty big. Yeah, right here. There's another one that I gotta pick. But they're definitely taking off, and we're gonna have way more cucumbers than we know what to do with here in another few days. Chamomile I can probably harvest again. As you can see, it's really flowering, so we'll get a second harvest of that. The peas, as you can see, they are starting to fizzle out a little bit. There's a lot of peas on here I got to pick, and again, these all snapped because of the that storm that we got. There was a lot of wind associated with it, but they're still growing. They're still doing fine. I just got to pick them. You can see they're definitely a little heavy. I have more beans started in here, and you can see they are starting to climb up. So whenever these peas are done, these beans will definitely take off. And then I got some thyme that's flowering. The goji berries here, I don't know, they're not looking good. I'm gonna try adding some blood meal. I'm gonna try adding some rock dust and see if that helps. But they might just be dying. I'm not exactly sure. More potatoes that I got to get out of here at some point. Borage is flowering. It looks beautiful. It looks very beautiful. And then again, we have kohlrabi in here that is basically ready to pick, it looks like. So we're gonna pick some of that this week. The spaghetti squash is really producing. Let's see, there's one right there. There's more over here. Let's see, yeah, one right there growing there. There's another one growing there. So we're gonna have lots of spaghetti squash, and these are more beans. These are Marvel of Venice. They are a yellow Romano bean, and they're doing really well. They climbed the whole way up this trellis, and then they're climbing the whole way down the trellis, as you can see. So I think they need at least 10 feet, to be honest. I think they need probably at least 10 feet of trellis space, and this is only like 5, so definitely need a bigger trellis for these guys. Zeppelin squash right in here. As you can see, it is starting to form. So we'll get a few of those, and then the peas, yeah, they're completely fizzling out, but we're still picking them. So I need to get in here and pick out all the big ones, toss them in the compost. The ones that are still edible will probably freeze. More peppers in here. These are all bell peppers. They're a little bit bigger than the banana peppers were, but maybe they're supposed to be. I don't know. You just look at the stem on that. It's like a tree almost. That's what you want with your peppers. You want to see that. Basil right in here. Again, more beans that I'm gonna have to pick. Some Japanese beetles on them I gotta get rid of. And lemon balm, and another tomato right there. And then again, the cherry tomatoes, as you can see. I tie them all up so I can actually get through here now. And gosh, the video probably doesn't do it justice. There are so many tomatoes in here. They are loaded. Like, look at these ones right here. They're just loaded with cherry tomatoes. I think this is Golden Nugget. So yeah, it's got a lot. It's got a lot of tomatoes on it. There's a lot more that I see in there that you can't really see with the camera, but there are a lot of tomatoes on them. And we're gonna be picking like crazy here in a few weeks, I would think. The other tomatoes, the big ones over here, they're loaded too. Persimmons. Look at those. That is beautiful. So we're gonna have so many tomatoes this year, which I'm really happy about, because in years past we would always get a lot of rain, and the tomatoes would get blight, and we would never really have a good harvest of tomatoes. But I think this year we finally will, so I'm excited about that. And yeah, I still got a lot of projects I got to do out here, but it is coming along. It's looking pretty good. We're getting a lot of food every day, pretty much. I'm eating stuff for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, so I am getting sick of it. But we're gonna have more cucumbers coming, so I do like cucumbers a lot, so I'm excited about that. And again, the tomatoes are coming very soon, so really excited. Not much more to report here, but hope you enjoyed the video. Goodbye.